second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Next up, approval of the bills list.
Motion to pay the bill.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So pay the bill. Into public comments. Going once. Next up, committee reports, administration and finance.
Good evening, everyone. In your packet, you should have had the updated financial report for the month of May. In that also, I noted the most significant items and the variances. For the general fund on the revenue side, that being the franchise fees are a little lower than calculated in the budget so far this year. However, I do anticipate that will get caught up with the summer months with Evergy as electric bills go up. Unfortunately for us, I have to pay them. It's good for the city in terms of franchise fees and what those receipts I anticipate over the next couple of months. So while we're a little bit low right now, I do anticipate that will pick back up over the summer. The nice thing about in the general fund, even with revenues trending a little bit lower, expenditures are also down as well. So they're still operating with about $13,000 surplus in the general fund for operating so far this year, which I think is good. We get into the tax fund. That is operating essentially at budget for revenues and then slightly below budget for expenditures. So again, operating a surplus of about $29,000 so far this year. The street fund, sales tax is trending a bit below where it was in the budget at this point in the year. And we have a couple of purchases of equipment that were not in the budget. Capital items weren't budgeted in the last budget, so we have those items that are showing above budget for the fiscal year. With those purchases and revenue trending down, there is a deficit of $50,000. So it's eating into the fund balance of the streets fund, but the cash balance in the streets fund is very healthy and can support that. So that's not an ongoing concern. Fairs and festivals, we had a few expenses so far this year that weren't planned in the budget, and so they're operating at a bit of a deficit, about $2,600. Park operations, again, a few items that weren't planned in the budget, but still sufficient revenues to cover those items, and so they're operating at a surplus so far, about $14,600. The capital fund for parks, we had parks capital projects that were not planned, so those items weren't in the budget, as well as the Polaris that was replaced. And so those items are causing the budget to show as a deficit of $92,000. However, the fund still has sufficient capital in order to cover that, so it's not an ongoing concern. Your water and sewer funds are both operating with a surplus so far this year, meaning that the revenues coming in are greater than the expenditures going out. Even though water sales are tracking just a little bit below, but again, it is the summer months, we do anticipate that to go up. And I expect for the fiscal year, by the time we get to September, we'll be all right in terms of tracking towards budget. So far this year, with the water and sewer combined, we're operating at a surplus of about $112,000, which is pretty healthy going into the last quarter of the fiscal year. And the last fund we're tracking is the ARPA fund, with the ARPA revenues that are there to support the wastewater treatment plant project. The costs that you see there, those are the engineering and design costs going with that plant. Because it's a capital project, those weren't really planned in the budget for this year, but I do track it so that you guys have that. And then the final piece is your cash projection. So this gives you an idea of where we are from a cash perspective in all of the accounts. Not significant changes from prior month. In fact, we have a little bit of cash balance increases, so I think overall that's very healthy. And probably what you'd expect, given that the revenues in most funds are actually higher than the expenditures. Did anyone have any questions about our financials? No?
Not hearing you.
Or did you serious? Okay.
No, thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Public health and safety.
You got the report. I added another report to that in graph style for you also. That's got the officers individual rather than just department totals. But calls for service was up. Citations were up.
Is that because of summertime, you reckon, Chief?
You what?
Is that because of summertime?
equaled out.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't say it was a significant increase in calls, but it's up over almost 130 calls for the month.
Is it on here as far as the kids stopping kids from, I don't see as many, but stopping kids from running those go-karts and stuff on the street?
That's not an individual
not in
on
here.
this, no.
Okay.
It would be included in the car stops, which is
So would it?
75 for the month.
Is there anything, any way we can make that separate so we can see just how many?
Yeah, for next week, I can add another line.
Yeah, because it is a complaint by the public as far as nobody wants to see the kids get hurt.
And we're getting ready to put on the Facebook page with the local and state regulations on those. About mini bikes, go-karts, all that, so that it won't be a shock to anybody when they get stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like those car stops really jumped up. We were averaging like, I don't know, 8 or 9 a month, 75 or.
Now, that is a little bit off because I changed that last line from, before, previous it was state warrant filings. I changed it over to car stops, so that last month of May, that's not the car stops.
Okay.
We had about 40 car stops last month. This is 75 this month.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that must be what CS is, car stop.
Car stop.
CS, is that car stops? And
Yeah.
it looks like Officer Martin had a significant item number. Yeah.
He stops a lot of cars, but he didn't give the most summons, so it means he's nicer than some of the others.
Thanks, sir. Anybody have any other questions for the chief? Next up, park board. See any park board folks? Mr. Walcott, do you have anything?
Not since last meeting, so, I mean, she pretty much covered everything on the last meeting we had, so, and we haven't had another meeting.
Next is planning and zoning. There's a planning and zoning meeting scheduled for July 14th. They'll discuss the empty lot south of the, what I know is the LDS Church. I'm not sure. That Community of Christ, I can't remember what it's called. Well, but it's cemetery. They're looking at development ideas, so they'll be going to the planning and zoning. And I don't know where the best place to discuss this, but we've been approached, Tim Mershon has got the feed lot down there across from the wastewater treatment plant. Did ask about storing some hay in that stockade from the rodeo, and in exchange he would maintain that property, keep it mowed, and what have you. I didn't see a big problem as long as the city was getting something out of the deal. But, get the collective wisdom of the board to say, do it or don't.
Can we have a picture of that? Where it's gonna be stored? And I can't picture it in mine, so.
When you go to the wastewater treatment plant, in your driveway would go to the left, there's that metal.
I can't remember how big that was.
Pretty big. The corral, what do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, the corral is what I understand, that's where he wants to put it.
Do we use it for anything else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is there any
No,
liability?
it's been
issues
sitting
on
there dried up for a long time. We sprayed all the.
I guess we could get a release, I guess if the hay burnt
Right,
or
yeah,
something
there's-
else, then the hay, but otherwise,
Coming back out.
Yeah, we can, I think we probably give us a release and say you pulled us harmless or something.
Is that anything we have to ask the lawyer about?
I mean, I can, but I just say if
It's
you
okay.
guys are okay with it, then I'll
If it's
just.
okay with him, it's okay with me.
Or if we just need to get a release that says that you'll store it there at risk, at home risk, and if something happens to it, it's his problem, not ours.
Yeah, if we're not using it, he's gonna maintain it, that's.
Yeah, say
I'm okay with that.
we're public works guys in a couple hours.
The only thing that I can think of is that I know the boys that were doing the dirt work down there for the reed system, I know they gotta come up on top of the hill and dig into the hill because they can't have, they got no clay down there where they're digging at, and they need clay all at the bottom of that system. So I'm not sure how far they're wanting to dig down over by that rodeo arena, but I know they're gonna wanna tear up that hill some. I can get you some more information next week. We're supposed to have a little meeting there at the plant.
Okay, and I know, I mean, I don't know if Joe knows about what you just said. He had called me earlier this week about asking if it was okay, and I suggested that they go before the board, so, yeah, I mean, if there's not a problem with needing to access that area for the wastewater treatment plant project, then we get a release.
Yeah, and it's okay with the lawyer, yeah. Those two things, yeah.
All right, I will report that back next week. Public Works.
Cool, I'm sure you guys will be glad to hear we dumped about 6 ton of asphalt, 6 ton of asphalt between the last 2 weeks. We've been really hammering down on that. Once summertime hits, rain will hopefully let up and we'll be able to get some asphalt done. We've, really recently, we got Zinner coming up. They should be coming in town, sometime in July, mid-July. We've been really trying to set up for that and make sure we're all squared away with all of our tools. And, I think me and Seth, our other guy, where me and him are both gonna go out on those Zinner crews and then they're gonna teach us basically everything we need to know so this meter problem that we have doesn't happen again. But, other than that, we've, just been trying to stick to it, keep everything caught up with. Equipment's running great, skid steer's fantastic, been keeping that up, mower's fantastic. Pretty much it on public works side.
Thank you.
Any questions about what's going on?
No, so the report said 24 potholes fixed, so that's.
Yeah, and that was like 2 days worth of work, we were hammering down on it. The issue with that hot trailer we got is, I mean, we gotta have it empty. You can only have asphalt in there for 24 hours. So if we get 3 ton one day,
You
it
gotta
needs
put
to
it
be
down,
done.
yeah.
We gotta have 3 ton done.
Right.
So that was kind of a bigger issue with the weather and stuff. That's why it wasn't getting done because, I mean, I can't get screwed over in the middle of the day when the rain comes. It's not an option. I gotta have somewhere to put that asphalt.
That's fantastic. We have a roller.
We have a tamper. That's
All
probably.
we got. I thought we had a roller, but it wasn't working.
We have, actually, we do have a roller, and that thing is so buried in the weeds, I don't think it's ever seen sunlight in probably a couple years. And we can pull, I think that's got a 3-point hookup on it, is the only issue. I think I've looked at that before, and I think they were pulling that behind the tractor.
Pull behind the roller.
I'd be super interested in getting a new one, because that would make our job a lot easier. That or a better temp, because this temp we got is probably double my age. And, it runs, it works all right, it's just not making these patches look the way I want it to.
Right. Well, see, maybe we put something up, like on our wish list. I don't know if we can do it, but, yeah.
Well, we'll get some more asphalt dumped, and then, some more asphalt, that'll make it,
Yeah, if you're putting
More
in the time, it'd be
reasonable.
nice to do it right.
right, correct.
And I believe Joe was saying that out here on West on 24, that they were gonna be, milling that.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you know when they're gonna be doing that?
I don't know a date on it, the only thing I know is that it's going on, and they want a place to drop the millings, because, Joe wants us to take the millings, because we can recycle that in our trailer, which would save us a boatload of money. So, I don't know a date on it, and I'm not quite sure where they're gonna dump these millings anymore because of that refed system that's going down there.
Well, one of the things we talked about was on the alley back here to use it to. fix-
And that'd be great, yeah, I think that, I mean, that needs to get paved over anyways, because it just keeps washing out of that driveway and stuff.
So we could spread it and drag it. Maybe
We can, we can.
fix it for a day or two.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about the last meeting.
Right. That's the guy who actually gonna be doing the work, getting
Yeah.
him in the loop.
That's yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Well, this report is nice, I just want to say I like looking, seeing everything that was done in the last month.
Yeah,
I like that
Seth,
too. Thank you.
Seth, our other guy, he's been real good about keeping track of what's going on, what we're doing. I'm not the greatest at that because I just want to go and get it done and keep knocking stuff out. But he's been real good at keeping track of what we're doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And fairs and festivals, I don't see anyone, so we'll move on. Old business, first item up is a presentation from Mike Keith Insurance. I believe Mr. Gaston is here to tell us about
Sir, thank you. Thanks for having me on your agenda tonight. How about them oils? We're in a row.
Yeah.
Move six and, commit three.
Yeah. That's right. All right, so here tonight to present your July 1st insurance renewal for Star Insurance Company.
Yes, sir.
Christian apologized. He is your normal agent and he had other obligations tonight. Asked me to fill in, so. Happy to be here. Little story, 30 years ago, I worked as an insurance agent out of the bank across the street for a different agency. Yeah, kind of familiar with your town, love your town. So the renewal for July 1st, really. Second page of your presentation there, we'll go through this. This is a summary of all lines of coverage with the coverage and the premiums. And then following this, there's the schedules of each line of coverage. So we'll go next. First, on your property coverage, your renewal represents $11,127,087 of insurance. That's for your building and contents. You'll see a rate increase there. It actually comes down to 7 cents per $100 of coverage. And your coverage is up $599,817 from last year. So the increased value represents about $2,800 of your increased premium.
He's gonna take all night.
You have a $1,000 deductible on your property. You do have business income and extra expense. And equipment breakdown. Equipment breakdown is an added peril for off-premise fire failure. A lot of times we pay a lot of claims for pumps. We never cover wear and tear. If we have a pump that your repair guy says, I don't know what happened, it's an internal failure, it's just bad. It's not because it's old, not because it's wore out. We haven't had lightning, vandalism, anything like that. This is where that coverage is going to come in. It's kind of like your old boiler machinery policies from the old days. Great coverage. Also has $1,000 coverage. The next section is what we call in the marine. This is contractors' equipment, tools and equipment, things like that that don't stay on any one premise all the time. It could be in transit, at a job site, covers off premise. We have a total coverage of $287,774 with a $1,000 deductible. Real quick on that, the company, they did not get your 2013 Polaris Ranger deleted yet. So at the renewal, they'll delete that and the premium will come down between $70 and $80 on that line of coverage. But really, it's going to be no increase. You're right at no increase on that.
So does it have the new one on there?
It does.
So right now we have two.
Correct.
Okay.
You do have $100,000 of rented or leased equipment with a $1,000 deductible. So if we need to go rent a machine and it's $100,000 or under, you don't even have to call us. You have automatic insurance for that item. If it's above that, we're just going to add the additional amount and charge you a little bit of premium for the excess over the $100,000. All right. The next section is your general liability. You have limits of liability of $2 million per occurrence, a $4 million general aggregate. This covers your premises and your operations. There's no deductible on general liability. The next section is your employment benefits liability, same limit of liability, $2 million per occurrence with a $4 million general aggregate. It does have a $1,000 deductible. This line of coverage is if we fail to extend any employee benefit to a new employee or existing employee, and they make suit against you, this is where it's going to come from. We don't add them to the health insurance. They'll be claiming, they're going to be asking for answers. So that's where that comes from. Public officials liability. This is where we protect this council for your acts and decisions, passing ordinances, enforcing ordinances. If a suit comes back against you, this is where it is. It's on a claims-made basis with a retroactive date back to July 1st of 2019. So any claim that comes from that date on, this is the policy that takes care of that. It has a $2 million per occurrence limit with a $4 million general aggregate. This section does have a $5,000 deductible. Your next section is your employment practices liability. This is what protects us for our hiring hiring practices, firing practices, discrimination, harassment, those types of things. Same deal on the claims made basis and the retroactive date back to 2019, and also has a $5,000 deductible. Your law enforcement liability, these limits are included in your general liability, $2 million per occurrence, for named general activity. It has a $5,000 deductible, and it's rated per officer, so we have you rated for 9 full-time officers and 1 part-time. It's good to see that line of coverage also did not have any rate increase, very rare. So, the auto section has 12 units, 2 million combined single limit of liability for bodily injury and property damage. Uninsured and underinsured motorists with bodily injury coverage has $50,000 each. And your deductibles for your comprehensive collision, all units except for the new trailer that we just added, has $500 deductibles.
What is that 21,552 up there at the top?
I apologize, what?
21,552, it's right above the 2 million.
That is your auto premium.
Oh, okay.
That's up $66 from last year's all.
Is that, sorry, the uninsured and underinsured motorists at 50,000? Is that kind of the base? I know personally, mine's like 250.
Right.
So that seems really low to me.
And it is, that's the limit, that's all they'll write.
Oh, you can't go higher than that?
Not with stuff. And the good news is, with it, with, your work comp, is most likely gonna be taking care of you for auto accidents, things like that. And, I wish they were, but that is their max. We try to encourage for the last line is your optional terrorism coverage. It's $280 a year. So at the end of the night, if somebody makes a motion to approve the quote, please include with terrorism or without terrorism. I believe you guys have consistently chose to purchase terrorism coverage. I think that's a great buy in our world today. So your annual renewal premium, well, one other thing in there, we used to offer a little bit of cyber coverage. Star used to just throw it in for no premium. It was $50,000 coverage, I believe, at no additional premium. And cyber claims have become that prevalent that they will not even offer it. So I do have a separate quote for cyber coverage in the end that I'll share with you. So annual premium, $121,771. The next couple pages are your schedules of insurance. The first page is the property schedule. Items 1, 2, 3, and then way down at location 2, item 16. Those values were provided by an engineer from the city, and then everything else increased 10% from last year. We're still trying to catch up with today's replacement costs. That's why your property values were up $599,000. Endorsements during the year, they removed a sewage treatment plant that had duplicate coverage, so they went back to 7/1/24. That was taken off. Any coverage on the project? Any questions on the property section? All good. The next section is inland marine coverage that we discussed. These are all the items that we have on that schedule. Item number 6 is that Polaris Ranger that will come off. They'll endorse the policy after the renewal date. Items 22 and 23 were added, well, 23 was added March 26th of 25. Item 22 was added February 25th of 25. Deletions, March 26th, we removed the backhoe attachment to the Bobcat. We removed a 2014 John Deere tractor and a Bobcat T650. Next page is your auto schedule. Shows those 12.
So is that $1,000 a year for deductible for any of these items?
Correct.
Just one time?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. 26, we removed a 2007 Ford Ranger. Everything on here has comp and collision except for that 99 gooseneck trailer that we recently had. Everything look up to date there. Next couple pages just talks about terrorism coverage. You're, got trouble sleeping, read that. So then you'll see a page, a couple pages in red after that. And this talks about your cyber coverage. Option one, there's 4 options, and I'll just kind of break it down for you. The first 2 options are $1 million of cyber liability. One has a $1,000 deductible, one has a $2,500 deductible. Options 3 and 4 offer $2 million in cyber coverage, and the same deal, $1,000 deductible and $2,500 deductible. So your premium for $1 million of cyber liability, annual premium, with $1,000 deductible is $1,380. If you chose to increase that deductible to $2,500, the premium would go down to $1,250. And then the next 2 columns for $2 million with $1,000 deductible is $1,830 a year. $2,500 deductible brings that down to $1,650.
So this would, if somebody hacks our system, ties up, we can't send out bills or
Correct.
whatever, then we would have up to $1 million worth of coverage.
Correct.
To business operation.
Exactly. And then an extra million for breach response. So I say $1 million of coverage, but in reality, you've got $1 million to fight the cyber people, the crooks. But then we also have $1 million to provide breach response, to be it to the public that may be affected, or, whomever it is, all the response is a separate limit of coverage for you. We all know we hear about cyber attacks all the time on the news. One of my insurers, I'm experiencing my first personal claim for one of my insurers, and same company. Very impressed with how the company handled it. I hate that they had to pay a claim, but $836,000 paid and got my insurance back up and running. So I'm getting the cold chills because I hate it. I hate that we're paying crooks that amount of money.
How does that, do they separate, is there any way that we would have to pay more than $1,000 per incident? I mean, does that, when you have, I guess what I wanna say is kind of like there are different types of cyber attacks,
Yes.
but they're at the same time, would it still just be $1,000?
If it's the same occurrence, one incident, it's $1,000 included. And I love this company, this quote, because this company pays on behalf of you. So if a cyber claim ever happened, we don't want you to tell the hackers that I've got to call my insurance. Just say I've got to call mayor, I've got, however it goes, but just not that we have insurance. Amount goes way up when they know you have insurance. And then the company will take over for you. They have specialists, and they pay that ransom demand on your behalf if there's a big ransom in place. Some of these companies are reimbursement companies, so they're like, you take care of the claim and we'll reimburse you. It's like, where am I gonna get $1 million and pay it in crypto, so, because that's what these cyber claims are. They're making us pay in crypto. It's not writing the check so we can track them.
Does this company do any kind of threat assessment or anything where they would look at our system and say, hey, here's 4 things you probably ought to be working on, so
Yes.
we're not paying a claim?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I got in on this process late, so I'm not sure that Joe has already completed the application with Christian and Gary. But you have to qualify for this, and I'm sure you guys do, but it's the multi-factor authentication thing. Who you use for outside protection and things like that. But by all means, they're a good resource for things you can do.
Yes, I don't really understand exactly how it works, but I know now that you can pay your bill online and stuff, I was thinking there's ways for people from the outside to be reaching financial
with to protect yourselves too.
And what was the name of this vendor?
This is Beasley Specialties. So this is a separate standalone policy from your package policy.
And is that just a single payment of 1380, or is that 100 and something a month, or how does that work?
Thanks, good question. This one would be payment in full for this policy. It's- On the package policy, you guys have traditionally paid quarterly, which has a 40% down payment and 3 installments of 20% each. The next page of your packet is, just something for you to review later if you'd like to be involved with this. But this is your wash runs. This is what shows you what has been paid out on your behalf. First couple pages is your property and liability, and then the page that's not stapled to it is your public claims. So that's more informational purposes only, just so everybody knows what's happening. And then I brought one stuff I apologize, you got shorted because I was told to bring 5 copies.
Oh, that's fine.
So you don't have everything, but this Risk Advisor Connect, this is just a tool that we provide to you guys. We are part of the Keystone Group, it's a national group. And it just allows you to call in and get help with your, like, human resources, safety, claims, things like that. And we're always a part of that process with you, but definitely a great tool to use if you need it. And then the next thing that's in your packet is simply an article from Time Magazine, just on how bad weather patterns are in Missouri. Used to be Kansas, and now for some reason it's us. I gave you guys the whole packet you could take home and read, but just a few highlights. 2024 through January through April, Missouri only had 35 tornadoes. And these are actual sighted tornadoes, not warnings. 2025, we had 78 for that time period. And then if you had May in there, we had 115 tornadoes that touched down in Missouri. In 2024, I think we had 117 total. So we're already at over that amount. A lot of people ask me why property rates are so high, and just a little information. And it's not coming from us or insurance companies, that's coming from Accurate. Okay, I know I've taken up a lot of your time. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer?
Thank you. We appreciate the information.
My pleasure. Thanks for allowing me to be here. Have some more, but there is a flow.
On this map, was that $1,300 a quarter?
It's annual.
Annual?
Yeah. There's 4 choices on your limits
Right.
there.
Right.
Yeah. This invoice is just for the package policy. For terrorism agreement, if we include or exclude terrorism, there's no.
Is there a motion to move forward with the policy at 121,771?
No. I have a question about why we would be carrying comp and collision on the 2 Dodge pickup, a 3/4 ton pickup or 3 ton. The city maintenance truck, we've got a 99 Ford F-350 on here with full coverage. That car, you would get $1,000 for it, if you had to. So I think we need to look at full coverage on some of these vehicles.
You know,
How much does that change?
Let me see if I have, I don't think I have rates per vehicle.
I thought, the city administrator was gonna look into that, but
yeah, it'd be nice to know the difference, but like the State Farm has quoted us that they said, well, the comprehensive is your biggest part of the premium, and so it's not much difference. And that's State Farm, but,
Yeah, So what, and I do not have a rating worksheet with me, but I can find those answers and bring them back quickly. What vehicles?
Well,
The
the
rate
vehicle
35.
2, 3, 6, and I don't know which vehicle it is that city administrators drive. It's a former police vehicle. Do you know which one it on
It's
here?
a, should be a 2014 Dodge Charger.
Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, and 6 on the schedule.
It's either 4 or 5 on the schedule.
Cool. I'll get them both. Is Joe back tomorrow?
Back Monday.
Back Monday. So if we.
Well, he is back Monday, excuse me, but he's got classes.
Okay, good. That's on the 8th.
Tuesday,
What day?
Wednesday.
He
Tuesday,
won't be in the
Wednesday.
office till Thursday. He told me.
So he'll be back Monday.
I'm sorry, you're right, he won't be in the office Monday, he'll be back Thursday, is when he'll be in the office.
Can we
Be in
okay
class
this?
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Can we okay this and pending, or do we have to make that decision, the whole board on that?
Well, I think you want to know what the rate is.
What savings we might be able to make.
Are we getting
Can that be changed?
Or July, whatever.
Yeah, you're good.
I have no objection, other than
He's hoping to be there.
finding out if we really are,
What the premium difference is. with the-
yeah, if we're saving any money, worth our while.
Yeah,
to
we
keep
draw
up.
the comprehensive on
And can that be changed after we okay it?
Pardon?
Can that be changed after we okay it?
So by all means, we could vote to accept the proposal with the condition we're checking rates, premiums on common collision. And if you take it off, perfectly acceptable.
Because at any point during the year, we could just lower it, right?
Absolutely.
Adjust those
Yes.
rates.
it. Someone like to make that motion?
Motion made.
Is there a second? Any other discussion?
Yes, do we, don't we need to,
The terrorism.
go by terrorism?
Terrorism and cyber. please.
Correct.
And then
Cyber.
Then on the cyber, are you thinking 1380?
I'm thinking 1380. I think, let me see, what my papers
We got a motion and a second. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I could get you to sign, stick in the back. This is the terrorism.
Yes, cyber in, and,
In the other quote.
yes, yep, so it's all three. Every language, like secretary.
Yeah.
Also.
I got everything except for the cyber.
Should be,
And not to make a motion,
for-
yeah, the first and third, Thursday of each month.
That's like July 3rd.
Trying to get those rates to you guys, make a decision. Perfect. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you. Have a good evening.
Okay, next up, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding changes to the food truck ordinance. Last meeting, I know there was, discussion around 245,050, A sub 5, which was the permitting fee, going from $100 a year to $50 a quarter, and the quarter includes January to March, April to June, ending June 30th, September 30th, December 31st.
We voted that in, right?
No, it was tabled.
Oh, before we voted that part in. Well, we can change that part, right?
You could, if there is desire on
That's something that you're wanting to put in.
this. I mean,
Yeah. I have no problem with that, yeah.
is there any questions?
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if it's really gonna matter. I think our ordinance is so stringent, there's no food trucks coming here anyway, so it's probably, I don't know if we pay
That's your
for change or, but yeah, that would be my only concern. If we pay an attorney to change this,
Good point, yeah.
Well, and that's-
I don't think anybody's coming to get permits anyway, so, just my thought.
Good point.
Yeah, and on the, you know, on the other food truck issue, that was kind of part of my concern too. I thought we give it quite a bit of thought when we put them in there. And you know, we had, the most, applicable business that really brings in everything down here, and he spoke that day. And the lawyer put his 2 cents on what would be kind of fair. And I'm not against food trucks, I'm just against them taking business from here. So, and I think the range is great. They can go in the park, they can go anywhere they want, but not to draw the cars from our downtown. That's the part Toscano's owner had a reason for speaking that night. He had a legitimate reason. It wasn't just coming out of the clouds. And he spoke that night. And so I felt because he is bringing so much, he's bringing business in for other businesses in here. And I'd like to see other brick and mortar restaurants come in, and I think there is going to be. And I like I think it's a good thing. Food trucks are okay. They just don't need to take business from the cars from groups of cars that come in for the brick and mortar business. That's just my opinion. And the 200 feet, I think that the lawyer said that was the best he could do, kind of because of the way 24 is set up. This is set up different, and so that was to protect the Mexican restaurant and others from just parking a tamale cart right out there in front of them in the parking lot. And I don't see an issue leaving it, and we paid the lawyer to put that language in. I don't see that we need to change it.
No, I think to your point, Mr. Boss, both, I don't feel so passionate that I want to pay. I mean, Mr. Mauer does a wonderful job, but it's probably going to cost us $2,500 to get that done. So at this point, amending the ordinance is going to be an expense that's going to have no real payoff on the back end. So I don't need a motion to move that forward unless you're feeling very passionate that you want to move it forward. I just think I leave it as it is.
I'm ready to leave it as it is if everybody else is.
Any other issues around the food truck issue? Hearing none, we'll move on. New business. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the 2025 street improvement program. You should see there's a bid in the packet from All Pro Asphalt. And basically, if we could do all those projects at one time, we're saving the mobilization fee on the subsequent project, so you get it all done for a little over 100,000, I think, instead of 140,000.
Is that within our budget, seeing as how we just heard from the street fund?
That is the challenge, is that the county folks told us a little earlier, the street fund is lagging a little bit. That was the legacy of upgrading our equipment to, which gun you gonna shoot me with?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think what we can do is, we get about 20,000 a month on fuel taxes and what have you, is if we put this to the back end of the season and have them do it maybe in September, and we don't have any catastrophic issues in the meanwhile, I think we should have enough to move forward with it. But I would say, and I didn't look to see how long this bid is good for.
I don't know that that date.
15 days.
Oh.
So we're probably gonna have to do it again, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's some craziness going on in the world that could influence it. So far, the oil prices have been fairly stable. I think we're still around $70 a barrel. So if we stay under $100, the asphalt shouldn't be crazy.
Well, can we ask them if they'll make us the same deal in a couple months? something close? I mean, if we
That's
do it
probably
all-
why they put that.
Huh?
That's why they take 15 days.
They're worried about volatility. If the oil prices go crazy, then.
Well, I'm not
prices
saying that,
shoot.
I'm talking about the package deal.
Oh, I think that'll hold either way, because it's just basically that there's a fee for mobilization, and so if they're only having to mobilize once, then it's less expensive.
If we don't got it, we don't got it.
And I say that, and that's where we stand right now, at 54,000 or whatever it was. Yeah, 54,700.
Do you know if that excess quote there on the alleyway and stuff, is that tied in as in the same time we do the streets?
I think it would be, but I'm thinking if we're getting the millings from the state, whether we would need that. Or
Right.
at least it would be a starting point that if we had them, because I think they'll bring them to us, right? You don't have to.
Yeah, we
go
just
get
gotta
them.
spread them out.
We just gotta spread them.
So,
That's a hell of a lot of spreading back there, I'll tell you that.
but if we start back here and see how, I mean, is that gonna be more than we can use
We
back
can,
here?
I doubt, that's a pretty big driveway back there. I don't think we use all of it. I think we'll have a little bit left over from all the work that they're doing.
I'd say the other would be then if we needed, you could use it down at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, I mean, we got spots to
Do
use,
them-
don't get me wrong.
Do them millings repack?
That was another question I had, is because we're gonna have to lay it on top of that gravel, or unless we're gonna dig it down.
And if it just comes right back out, we might be better off waiting the 2 months and trying to get it done without
That's-
putting it back down.
that's where my
Otherwise,
head
they'll have
was.
to just take it back out again.
That's where my head was.
That's there, you drive on it and compact it.
That's what I was asking.
Use
If
as a
it
base.
compacts, it doesn't come back out. But
But how well is it gonna compact with the gravel underneath? And if we dig it out on the gravel, I'm not sure if we'll have enough then. But if we keep it and we lay over top of it, we'll have enough, probably have more than what we need. I just really hate to go and put all that work in back there and it not compact.
Can we just do a small section and see how it works?
We've got a couple holes back there when we had left over from our hot trailer, we go and dump back there. I don't think they're holding up the grass. I mean, it's more like we had it, we have to get it out of the trailer, let's put it towards good use. So I can't promise how well it would hold up back there. We can do a patch if y'all would like, and I can,
The upshot is that, I mean, not to be offensive, but we're only at risk for the labor, because we're gonna get all the materials at no charge if we do that. And if we find out it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if.
Right.
we
And
go the other
they're
way,
not gonna
we
charge
know
us
it's gonna-
anymore to haul it back out of there when they blacktop it.
Well, I'm gonna guess that I think if Ultro, I think they have rollers that they could go in there and roll it and compact it, or if they have to grade it down, I don't know. I didn't see it on
Well,
here.
that's not gonna cost us any extra if they have to do that, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
And that was my question.
So I would say we hold until we know we've got the money or should have.
Well, we got a hole anyway, right?
Yeah, I said, but rather than try and do 50,000 or something and then have them come back and do another 50, let's save that 30,000. get it
Right,
all
but there's
done.
really no harm, no foul in putting down.
Are we gonna get more of that,
Gotcha.
more than millings?
I think so. I know the state knows that if they got millings, they know they can drop it
Alright.
to us now.
Yeah, that works.
Now, I don't think that was before, I don't think they knew that.
That
Joe
works. I'd
told
like to
them
put
recently.
that alley over
Yeah, I was
there.
gonna say, that's what I thought, if we had just an abundance of them, then we could hit the two alleys adjacent to Hudson. Get the one between Central and then the one.
Yeah.
I thought Joe said something about if he bought the gravel for the perimeter, that Tony would spread it. We might ask.
Yeah, that was in talks, for
Did-
sure. Me
but
and
they
Tony
didn't-
just talked the
But
other
they
day.
didn't do it, right?
We haven't ordered gravel.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
He, I can't remember when I talked to him about that. I wanna say it was probably about a month ago.
Okay.
And he was wondering about it, and that's we just haven't got the gravel ordered for it. I don't mind spreading it. It ain't gonna take me but an hour and a half, 2 hours to spread it out. It ain't that big of a deal. If he wants to spread it, go ahead, but all we gotta do is order the rock and have it drop there. Or if he wants to drop it at the plant, he can, I'll load a dump truck up. It don't matter. All we gotta do is have the rock ordered.
Yeah, we'd want to hold on that, I think, too, until we find out on the other, right?
Sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, if we get free millings, yeah.
'Cause it
And I
looked
think
like
the
they-
millings will stay in there more than the gravel will.
I'd say, because I think there will be some intrinsic, just residual oil on them that should keep them.
And I don't know if you can spray something on them or it'll pack down a little better and stick, I don't know.
I'm not an asphalt pro.
Me either.
If you want,
That's why we contracted with them.
if you want my opinion, we don't have the equipment to do that giant road back there, if you want my opinion. 'Cause we're gonna have to section it out, and I'm not sure how that sectioning out's gonna go if all the edges are falling apart with the gravel on the bottom.
I would really like to blacktop that when we have the funds.
Yeah, I'd say, but I mean, anytime we have, you know, that's probably a $50,000 project.
I know, that's
And
why
if you have-
with
Yeah,
the,
just saying, if you have $50,000, could you do Baker Street or
Right.
something where,
I understand, but that's also our police department, you know.
And
and I think
they're in and
that
out of there guaranteed 100% at least, I mean,
I
10 times
think-
at least a day coming out of there, probably a lot more. It's gonna get,
Well, no
I don't
wonder.
see it holding up. you know.
And they're
Well,
they're
relatively
first,
speaking, that's-
well, they're first responders too, so, you know,
Right.
that's the other thing I worry about. And
Public
so,
safety number one.
yeah. So, if we can,
What's your vehicle maintenance looking like? Probably pretty high, huh? Pretty rough on, that road's pretty rough on all of the equipment.
I don't know if this costs anything back there, you just don't drive in there like an
Like a
idiot.
crazy person. you know.
We use millions in Green Valley, and they don't last forever, but they last a couple of years. And I think they sprayed some type of oil on them and then.
That's what I,
that's what I said, probably like doing a chip seal.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it lasted for a while, but it didn't last forever.
That might be the thing, is to see if we can partner with somebody that would, if we knew when the millings were coming, they put the oil down and then we spread the millings on top of that. Because that's how Holly Road, I mean, it's on the crap now, but it was good for 2 or 3 years before it turned into a
didn't
cow
you do that
patch.
to Reaper as well?
Probably,
Years ago?
I drive down Holly Road every day and it's definitely degraded quite a bit from what it was.
But I think you're right, I think there's fuel oil or some kind of a,
It
liquid that you
activates
put
that
down
oil.
that adheres it better, compacted. And the more you drive over it after it's all put in, the better it.
Are you talking about your tack oil, or is this something different from tack oil?
No, I think it's the tack oil.
Okay, 'cause we got tack oil. That's what we use on all street patches and everything like that too. So that's mainly like a sticky deal to get your stuff to stick to your actual surface that you're laying on. I don't know if maybe I've been doing it wrong, we're supposed to lay tack oil all throughout the patch. I'm not sure, but I lay it on the bottom and lay it over top.
I say, and I don't only know it, I don't know, I just know from driving and watching them do it, it's like they put a layer of that down gravel and then another layer of that and then another layer of gravel.
Now that would be the right way. If we to layer it up with gravel, mix in asphalt, and then your final deal, you lay your asphalt over top. That'll have a good patch. I'm no expert. We're working with what we got for sure.
yeah, I think that's a good idea for starters, since we don't have the money for this package deal.
But we'll keep an eye on the revenue. Last week I was.
If we, you know, if you're topping the streets and we can get those other streets done, it's fine.
Those streets desperately need it too,
Hazel.
especially over by Hazel.
Right.
Yeah,
I've had
that
multiple
whole street on
public-
Hazel's a moon crater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Street anymore.
It's not even a street anymore.
No, it's not. I've had multiple public complaints about it. But I wasn't too sure. I didn't want to go over there and start patching. If
There's
we're
no
getting ready
place to
run
hold
over-
it.
See, and that's the
Yeah, it's just
issue.
gonna pop right.
You
back.
go, when you go around the corner, a quarter of the street's just completely gone for 12 feet.
Yeah, back there by Vernon, it's
Yeah.
a mess too.
And I've been finding that a lot recently, especially with all that blacktop, is once it starts cracking, I mean, it just goes real bad. And once we start digging into it and using a blower, I can watch the air going under the asphalt and ripping all the cracks up. That's the only problem I got with it.
Because that would be the other thing we probably should look at is Osage Springs and Echo Ridge, just looking at doing the patch and crack fixes.
Yeah, maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we did that probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time, well, probably Main Street.
Yeah, we did Main Street, yeah, yeah.
So, and again, that's pricey, but not as pricey as putting in a whole
Right.
road. So if we
Right.
get something for $10,000 or $20,000,
Yeah.
get them to just tar it and seal it, that'd be,
Mm.
because the winter aren't getting any mileage.
No.
All right, so next up, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding purchasing new pumps for the wastewater treatment plant. I don't have any color around that. Do you know anything, Sam?
That fall under our insurance?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, they brought that up. The issue is, I think that pump, I mean, it's been down there probably about as long as I've been alive again, so.
Yeah.
I knew, the only thing I really know about that pump is we have an auxiliary pump, I wanna say from FTC right now, pumping from our elevator to our racetrack. And our old pump, I know, has a hole in the bottom of the casing of it. That's about the extent of what I know on that. And I know they're, if they haven't already quoted us, they can't rebuild that pump. I think Joe already went that route and tried to see if they can, and they won't. I'm not sure if you guys have had quotes on new pumps from Joe, but I know he's been looking at it. It's gonna have to get a new pump.
This is the replacement cost is $14,221.
It says it hasn't been serviced in 13 years.
Yeah, those things seem like they crap out every other year.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
So this one,
That's longer than the ones at Echo Ridge.
Which is wild, for sure.
Every 6 months we replace one of those.
We know we got a yes vote every time that comes up.
My people will string me up.
Consider a motion to move forward on the FTC pump at $14,221. Water sewer right now, it's got about $190,000.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead. You got it.
Any other discussion?
You got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we'll get a new pump.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like to hear that it's all being, not in somebody's basement. If you look at some of those things that the insurance guy goes.
I saw that.
When it gets into somebody's basement, so.
I didn't realize we had that many claims for that much money.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's $250,000.
That's why we have insurance. All right, next up, elected officials comments, any officials comments?
I know, I run through the parking lot, and it's looking really good. Seems always mowed, everything's nice. It looks like the frisbee golf, disc golf is all in.
Yeah.
That's all set up now.
Yeah, it looks good.
Do we,
This just went through there.
do we have a map of that or a layout?
He's gonna put one up.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll tell you what, it'll be a sign, it'll tell you what holes, and then each one, I think each one, at the tee off's gonna have a sign
If you go
too.
on your phone, there's an app, it's called U-Disc. There was an old boy, like last week, he was out there from that company, marking all of it. If you go on that app, it'll basically run, it's basically like, I mean, it's basically it keeps track of your score, shows you your route, it shows every hole, super handy if you're looking at it. U-Disc is what it's called, you can download it on your phone, whatever.
But I
It'll
think
give you-
Tony's gonna put signs up too.
Okay.
So.
Good. Yeah, it looks good.
All right, well, thank you. If there's nothing else, take a motion to adjourn. Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, we stand adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.